Hello, everyone. Welcome to a session of Data Science and Artificial Intelligence in Africa. Today, we have the founder of AI Ghana, John. Welcome, John.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You can start by introducing yourself. So, who are you and where are you from?
So my name is John Bagiliko. I'm a Ghanaian, and obviously in South Africa.
Yes, and from AI Ghana, obviously, too.
Yes, AI Ghana.
Okay. Nice to have you here, John. You're interested in AI, or you are doing work in AI. So, can you please define AI for us?
Okay, so AI, artificial intelligence. The basic definition I could give is that it's a field that aims at making machines to think and act like humans.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basic definition. That's the goal. We want machines to think and act like humans. And this started when Alan Turing asked the question, can machines think? And this spurred a lot of research into that field, right? Which even led to his Turing test.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a game. So if you're able to build a system that can play the game well as prescribed by him, then we say that your machine can think and act like a human.
Okay.
It has artificial intelligence.
It has artificial intelligence. Okay.
And so he said that by the year 2000, we would have systems that can perform tasks that will be indifferentiable from what humans can do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the year 2000 passed about 10 years ago.
10, 20.
And here we are. We are still working towards AI. Yeah. We've achieved a lot, I think, but I mean, we still have systems that cannot perform what we said.
Yes. So some of the systems they perform well on tasks that humans find difficult to do, and then for the easy tasks for humans, like just walking around identifying people, AI struggles to do those tasks. So yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes. You started AI Ghana. So what was that about, and what kind of work have you been doing with AI Ghana?
Okay. So AI Ghana started after I met Alfred Ongere, the founder of AI Kenya, and the founder of Data Science Nigeria also.
Okay.
So they interacting with them kind of motivated me to start it, because I felt like it's a good thing to have a community motivated by learning together, finding problems and solving them using AI. So that was why I started.
Okay.
So I later got a co-founder who has been so good. And now we have a lot of members, and we usually have weekend webinars and other meetups.
Okay. So do you have like some sessions where you have people teaching about AI, or it's just maybe conversations?
Yeah. So we normally have a meetup where someone, a knowledgeable person, an experienced person in AI would come talk to us about how they solve certain problems, or even give a tutorial on how people can do certain stuff in AI. So yes.
Okay, interesting. So I also wanted to ask a follow-up question to the previous question I asked. You said you met up with the founders of AI Kenya and AI
Data Science.
It's Data Science Nigeria and AI Kenya.
Yeah.
Okay. So where were you guys? Where did you meet?
So I met Alfred in Kigali, Rwanda. We went for a competition, data science competition in 2019.
Okay.
I met him. And then for the founder of Data Science Nigeria, I met him at the Deep Learning in Daba, also in 2019. I think 2019 was one of my best years. I flew around Europe. So
Wow.
I met a lot of people. So that motivated me to start the again.
Okay. That's really cool. So what did you study and how did you get into AI?
So for my undergraduate, I did pure maths at the University for Development Studies back in Ghana. And after that, I went to AIMS, the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, and I did a master's in maths also. But this time I specialized in big data and computer security. So that was where I got introduced to this new field because I never heard of the name before. I never heard of artificial intelligence, I never heard of data science, whatever. And even though I took a programming course back in my undergraduate, but I mean, it was course.
It was theory. You didn't do a lot of programming.
Not really, because even at that time it was level 100. I didn't even have a laptop, so yeah, I didn't have a laptop. I took a programming course.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know, I knew the theory. Yeah, I could speak.
Wow.
Write a program by hand.
Okay. Well, okay. Okay. So it's not. I wanted to say that I think it's a problem in a lot of universities actually, because I was doing computer science, but some of for all of the courses that I took that had programming in them, we never had programming exams. I don't know now, maybe because it's been a while now. So they might have, but back like when I was doing my undergrad, we would write code on paper in examination hall. So I think that is a big problem because it doesn't motivate people to actually practice programming. You can literally just cram lines of code and get in the exam and just write them down.
And sometimes, like if it's good to do it on the machine because you try things, you run it if it works or not, you can change and try others. But writing by hand, you must just be some superhuman to know that.
Yes, because even experienced programmers, they also have to look up some things. Yeah.
So that was how it went. So it was really at AIMS that I now took programming practically, and in the beginning it was hard, but I became good. And then,
Yes, I also learned a lot when I went to AIMS. It actually helped me to improve my programming skills as well. I mean, for someone who was coming from computer science, I knew what programming was. But now I appreciate my skills more, I guess, because I've been doing it practically. So what skills do you use when you're doing your daily work in terms of software or programming languages?
Skills. Well, so I am from the maths background, so I mostly find it helps me in my reasoning when I have to think of how to program something, right? So maths is important. I use it. I use Python most of the time. I also did R and other programming languages. So I use Python. When it comes to machine learning, I know Keras and TensorFlow. Which I normally use. And currently, the project I'm working on, it forced me to have to know pandas, Solaris, and even QGIS because I have to know how it works to be able to code a similar thing in Python. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So can you describe some of the interesting projects you've worked on? Well, I use like different skills and tools, so it's interesting.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of projects, and it's mostly hard to list because, yeah. Okay, so I'll start with my master's thesis.
Okay.
I worked on common sense reasoning. This is one of the major problems in artificial intelligence, and it is text-based. We want machines to be able to read text and disambiguate them,
Okay.
right? Just like humans do with ease. For example, if I say the ball cannot enter the container because it is too big, a normal human being would know that it is the ball that is too big, which is why it can't enter the container, right? But this is a difficult task for machines to do, right? It doesn't know which one is big, is it the container or...
Yes, it's a case of ambiguity.
Yeah. And you can't program this like manually and say that when you see a sentence like this, is usually the first pronoun, is the first object. So if I say the ball cannot enter the container because it is too big, it's not always the ball. For instance, I can reverse it and say the ball cannot enter the container because it is too small.
Yes.
And the position changes to now the container.
Yes.
So you can program this manually.
Yes.
And it's all the same, still hard for machines to do, but we humans do this. So that was one of the projects I worked on. My model was achieving an accuracy level of 58%.
Okay.
But the state of the art is not also that impressive. It's around 70%. That shows
It's a hard
difficult problem. Yeah, starting from the Alan Turing's time.
Okay.
Right. And after that, I've built other projects like chain prediction, credit scoring. Currently, I'm working on a machine learning model with satellite images to detect plot boundaries in a field. Right? Yeah. So mostly this is done manually, whereby people are hired to go to the field and mark the boundaries of plots, farm plots.
Okay.
The boundaries, taking the coordinates and storing it in a system, right? For us to be able to count the number of plots, and for each plot, the boundaries and its geocoordinates. Okay. So this is done manually and it's expensive. So we want to automate that, build a model, take a satellite image. This model should be able to identify the various plots by their boundaries, take the geocoordinates at the same time. Okay. So this is a project I'm working on. So currently we have the model that picks the boundaries. It's able to detect the boundaries. So now the next step is to extract the coordinates. Okay. Yeah, and save it into a shape file. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a really interesting project and application of AI in agriculture.
Yeah.
So what other applications of AI have you seen or worked on in agriculture?
Okay, so sometimes people would want to know which types of crops are planted on which part of the land. So we have crop classification, crop mapping. So you have a field from let's say an image of a crop field, satellite image. You want to automatically detect which crops are grown on which portion of the land. And it's very useful for people who monetize or monitor farms, large farms, for distribution of resources and other stuff. So that's one. And we also have instances where people want to detect crop diseases automatically using software based on a machine learning model. So you for instance, you can have a mobile app that you can take a picture of a crop, the leaf or something, and it tells you what disease the crop might have. So these are some important applications of AI in agriculture. They are countless. You could think of anything. in agric. Any problem that people try to solve manually, there is a high possibility that AI can be applied.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've worked in both industry and research organization.
Yeah.
What does a day look like for you?
Probably let me start by the research organization, because that's what I find is a bit structured. So I'm doing a research. I have a topic, right? Obviously, I have to review literature, read about what people have done in the field. And so that means reading a lot of papers. So usually my day goes like, okay, I find some papers, read them, summarize them. If they built a model or something, I try to find the source code and look at how they did it. And mostly you would want to reproduce their result to kind of make your conclusions on whether what they did is okay or there's something that could be improved, right? So basically that's how it goes. And after reading and making all those summaries, of course, you now come to write something small in your research paper. So a day goes like you do these things, come and then update your paper. The next day you come, do some reading, check the code, something, come and update what you have and stuff like that, yeah.
Okay.
When you go to the other industry, the startups where you solve problems for other organizations, because you are now working with different organizations, you see. So it's not one project for a long time. You are put in ad hoc teams.
Okay.
So you can work on this today, tomorrow you are no longer on that team. So it's not structured. But most of the time you find yourself, if you're a data scientist, you will be asked to build a model, analyze data, or write a report on what you built. And probably you have to make a presentation. When the other organization joins a meeting, you have to explain what you've done to them. So that's how it is.
Okay, so you have to be good at reading, studying, working with data, also
Yeah.
presenting.
And presenting, because if you are a data scientist, analyzing the data alone in your office and having some results is not enough. You should be able to present to people, let them know, yeah. And this has to be done non-technically, because you have to break your results down. Let the non-technical people also understand.
Okay.
And interpret it to them in basic terms. So you have to be good at this also.
Okay. So do you have any advice for anyone interested in artificial intelligence?
I wanted to say something, but it's okay. So,
what did you want to say?
Yeah, if someone wants to enter into the AI field, data science, like coding, I would say they should work on projects. They should find some problems and try to solve them. If they feel they don't have the skills to be able to solve that, they should then learn, Google, or ask people for help, and then work on projects.
Yes, I think it's always good to start from a problem, and then if you get stuck, there are many ways of contacting people. You don't have to know them personally.
Yeah.
You can just go, especially on LinkedIn, there are a lot of professionals there. You can just ask and get information.
And you can also join some groups, like if you are into computer vision. If you go to Facebook, there are groups for computer vision you can join. And if you get stuck, you could always post in that group. People can respond.
Yes. So are they also like? Do you have WhatsApp groups for your AI Ghana? Because in some countries I know, especially for data science Zimbabwe, we have a group you can post your problems, ask questions.
Oh yeah, so we have a WhatsApp group, we have a Telegram group, we have Slack channel, we have Yeah, and on social media, we are there. You can post something, you can ask us a question. So on our WhatsApp group, for instance, people ask questions like if someone gets stuck or something, they post it in the group and people will respond. Yeah,
Okay.
that's how we operate daily on a daily basis. If we are not having an official meetup, we
Okay.
just continue from there.
Okay. Thank you for your time. I learned a lot from what you've been saying through your responses.
Thanks for having me.